Good day, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams, on the internet's #1 English language weekly online cybercast from Japan, Japan Journal, here in Dubai. Now, it's very Freudian that I should make that slip. I said Dubai because my guests are from Dubai. I'm not in Dubai. You know from my previous uploads that I'm sitting here in Phuket Island on Thailand, in paradise, although it rained all day in paradise, so I spent a lot of time indoors meeting and greeting interesting people, and I walked up on two young gentlemen from Dubai, which was on my mind, which is why I said that. And we're going to talk to them now. Interesting fellows. And don't adjust your camera if you think you're seeing double, because you are. These brothers are twins. I got a two-shot of you. How's that look, fellas?
Hey,
you good with that?
Good, yeah.
All right, let's go here. Start on the left. Please introduce yourself. How you doing, man? What's your name?
I'm good. I'm Arya, and I'm 19. I've been born and raised in Dubai all my life. I'm half Iranian as well, but I haven't been there much, so I don't know that much about it. I'm really good with Dubai. I love everything about it. It's a very nice city.
How do you spell your first name?
A-R-Y-A.
A-R-Y-A,
yeah.
and it's pronounced?
Arya.
Arya.
Like from that girl in Game of Thrones.
Okay, I'll buy, accept that. I'm not familiar, but this is your twin brother. What's your name, sir?
Arshia. It's harder. Iranian name again. A-R-S-H-I-A.
A-R-S-H-I-A. Arshia.
And he's 5 minutes older than I am. Yeah.
Come on, 5
minutes.
5 minutes older.
Yeah.
He's a big brother, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Somebody's got to come out first, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have a
to draw.
Yeah. Does it mean he's greedy and aggressive?
Oh,
That's why he came
please. Please.
Okay. So listen, I enjoyed having a pre-interview with you guys here. And Arya, you're interested in journalism and broadcast media, and I was very happy to hear that as a former and a current broadcast guy, journalist. I encourage you to pursue that. And yours is interesting too because law.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a law office, and do you know why? I was headed for a career in law, studying political science and history at the university, but I only made it to my second year undergrad before I had to get a job, and the first job I got was as a TV news reporter in my local hometown. Now, all the things that I thought a career in law would satisfy for me came to fruition in my career as a journalist.
Just goes to show that you want this, but you end up with this and you never regret it.
Yeah, but the skill sets for both are very similar.
Yeah.
You gotta write, you gotta read, you gotta present,
Research.
you have to communicate, you have to research, and you have to have some ethics, right?
Yeah.
To disseminate information.
You gotta have the moral high ground.
The moral high ground to disseminate information that is truthful and useful for your subscribers and your listeners. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
All right, so let's start over here with you. So you got flat feet and you can't play soccer, huh? Basically, that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, but it was only a recent and passing interest. Mostly, I just read.
Okay,
That's what it is.
that's good. That's gonna get you a lot farther than playing soccer. And how about you? You're an athlete too?
No, but we used to play a little in school when we were there, but now we stopped for a long time. We have the same taste in books, so whatever he gets, I read. Whatever I get, he reads.
That's twins, man.
Yeah, we're very similar. We have some differences,
Yeah.
but it's like they're also in similar tastes. Okay, so he likes tea, I like coffee. That's it.
Okay, hey, coffee and tea, man, they go together. Okay, milk or sugar?
Yeah, milk and sugar.
Okay, very good. I had the pleasure of saying hi, shaking hands with your dad.
Yeah.
And the reason I stopped you guys because you guys look very cool. I'm wondering, what are these Jewish boys from Brooklyn doing in Phuket, man? I need to holler at these brothers. And here we go. You're from Dubai, you got Iranian roots, and what's the other ethnicity?
Emirati. Half Emirati, half local.
Local
being Dubai.
I want to study the term. Emirati?
Emirati. United
Oh, the Emirates. Ah, that's the first reference I've heard to describe Emirates. Emirati.
Yeah.
Awesome. You got that, people? Yeah, it's going to be a test. What do you call somebody from the United Emirates? Emirati. You got it? All right, it's going right across there in subtitles for you. All right. All right, let's just get cut to the chase here. We had a very interesting discussion about your avocation and a little bit about your philosophies, ideas, and approach, and your interest. You mentioned something about receiving a letter from Chicago University.
Yeah, I didn't get it myself. I searched on the internet and I found out that people who get accepted by the University of Chicago, they send the acceptance letter, and it talks about how, because of this big what you call culture of political correctness in American campuses right now, where there's all these safe spaces and these warnings for triggers and stuff. So the University of Chicago is not like that. They're very forward and direct. They tell you, we do not have safe spaces here. This campus is about a collection of ideas where they're exchanged, they're clashed, and if you don't like it, if you get offended, then you can stay in your dorms or not even come here. But this campus was built on the idea that there are ideas that are meant to be challenged.
Free exchange of open ideas.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Great.
Free speech as well.
Great. So you share that kind of a feeling about,
We're
Sticks and stones.
anti-PC, which is ironic being
anti-PC, anti-political correctness.
Yeah.
Okay. So the previous conversation had to deal with the media, which I was giving you my background in, someone who came up into broadcast media in the United States, which is regulated by government laws. The purpose is to provide information for the public.
Yeah.
If you're going to be allowed to use the airwaves, which is a public domain, then you must pay a fee and you must adhere to the rules which say this is the public's right to know, and there are certain canons and ethics of fairness and balanced coverage, and if it is editorialization or political correctness, then it must be labeled as such, as opinion of the presenter. But ideally what we want to do is present both sides of a story and let the listeners decide what side they're on. And based on your observation, how has that changed now with the advent of corporate media in the United States?
Well, it's like how you were saying with Malcolm X, how I was, and the burkini ban, and I was saying, don't blame the police, it's their job. The laws are wrong, change the laws. And then you were telling me about that example when you were with Malcolm X and saying how when they were hitting you, hitting people on the head, and that it's better to just drop your gun and protest in the right way.
If you're a perpetrator of the illegal law.
Yeah, if it's against your conscience, you shouldn't do it. That's
right.
So.
No, what you were saying was that it's not the enforcer's problem. But if you're young black in America, you are profiled as being a thug first, guilty until proven innocent, so you have the risk of being shot to death as an unarmed black guy in Chicago, by the way, which is
wrong,
the murder capital now. A lot of it is black on black crime.
Yeah, and the foundation of the justice system is innocent until proven guilty. So it's very ironic that for black people, a minority, it's the other way around.
Right. And why do you think that is?
Well, to be honest, I'm not an expert on how much racism is still alive. I wouldn't say it's dead in America, but it has definitely reduced somewhat. However, it still has a problem. America still has a problem, which is getting better. It's not being helped by the liberal propaganda and fear-mongering. Despite there being some validity to their claims, it's being exaggerated, and that doesn't help.
That is so political correct. It's beautiful. You see how he balanced the thing by chastising the liberalness, but allowing them to have some veracity in what they're saying. But that's actually truthful. That's very truthful.
Objectivity is key.
It's objectivity and it's truthful. But information is crucial. So his opinion and his analysis, being a brother from Dubai with Iranian roots and Emirati background, has to be limited at best, does it not? Given the truth behind the history of racism in the United States, you know that country was built on racism at its outset. So to say that it's not all that bad anymore, it's getting better, is disingenuous, if not short-sighted. Take it from a brother who studies that and came up there. So what I want to tell you is, America was built on the backs of slave labor, okay? We were 3/5 of a man, not because that's what we were valued as intellectually or class-wise, but that was short of one full vote, one man, one vote concept. It's a constitutional issue, so from the very birth, African Americans, and to this day have not really been considered full citizens. That's a whole other story. We could talk about that issue, but I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on your opinion, which has to be derived from your observations made from Dubai, having never lived in Chicago with this guy.
It's an outside view inside.
Absolutely.
Of what we see,
And so I give you, as a journalist and an analyst, I give you another side of that to contemplate and go back home and research, okay? And if you think of the big picture like that, and as an educator,
that's a good thing. We give our side from the outside, you give it from the inside,
Right.
you put it together, and you get the most accurate model of reality of what it's actually like.
But something you gave me from the outside about the inside, the show Young Turks and liberal shows on cable television now, and I told you, as I told you, I'm an old school broadcast television guy over the public airwaves, and then evolved into establishing the first cable channel overseas division in Japan, which grew into this monster that we know now as advocacy journalism broadcast.
Yeah.
And if you subscribe to it and pay for it on a monthly basis, they can tell you anything they want without corroborating and without labeling it as opinion, and then give it to you in the context of one news show saying something like, I guess someone mentioned something about Obama or something like this, and they give a free opinionated comment in the package of the news. So share that story with me about the Young Turks in your opinion of being non-politically correct for a liberal show.
Yeah, there was this one episode I remember seeing a small clip of it where Anna Kasparian was talking about how fat shaming is wrong. You should never fat shame someone for their body weight, and it's very childish to do so. And then when Alex Jones, there was other collaboration of different media sites, right? And there was this one part on the set of the Young Turks where Alex Jones went to their side, and apparently he said he got invited in. I don't know, so I stay objective. But the point is, he went there and he started trolling Cenk Uygur, and I love trolling. It's really fun to take the piss out of people. So I started trolling him, and then Anna Kasparian.
I'll watch for you online.
Yeah, and Anna Kasparian lost her mind and started saying, "Get out of here, you fat fuck!" Right? And I'm like, you just said fat shaming isn't right, childish, and then you call him a fat fuck. Like the double standards are so real.
So from that standpoint, I see your point.
Yeah.
Should be fair and balanced, but the horse is too far gone from the barn right now, and so jumping to another point of our previous discussion, what we're thinking about is what's going to happen as of November in the United States with the election. And I jokingly, only half jokingly said, wouldn't it be great if Donald Trump should prevail, because that would spur on and hasten the revolution which has yet to come to correct all this madness. And what do you think about that?
I think he's definitely a better alternative than Clinton.
Oh boy.
She's just a lost cause. I mean, Trump isn't the best candidate either, but the good thing about him, from my point of view, is that he's honest. He doesn't give a shit if what he says hurts someone's feelings, and that's something I completely approve of. Despite being a minority, I would vote for Trump over Clinton.
If you put the camera on me and editorialize here, I'm going to put, this is an editorial comment based on what he said. Wow. Should I put this on the air, what he just said? But I'm joking. Because that was very honest, very candid. And your point, as an African American, and the prevailing sentiment is this guy Trump is just a cold, blatant racist. And I can give you documentation to prove that he came from a racist. His father, who used to discriminate against black people applying for apartments in the original building constructions in Brooklyn. There's government claims made against these guys and suits and penalties that they had to pay for violating human and civil rights. That's documented, so he can't escape the fact that it comes through. And his grandfather was a KKK member, so it is said. I've got some files to corroborate that. That's not my opinion. But for him to say that puts an interesting light on the candidacy of Donald Trump. And one thing that, given my profile, now I'm going off editorializing, saying as someone who strives to be a professional journalist with ethics and fair balance and corroboration, my analysis of your comment is probably would surprise you that it is very interesting and probably very factual in my estimation that, yeah, even though he may be perceived as a racist, this guy is telling the truth as he sees it, Just like I told you the story about Ted Turner, who hired me and told me when I complained that I hadn't reached terms with his people in Atlanta for my contract, he said, "I'll work you so hard you won't have time to worry about how little I'm paying you." And they laughed in my face, slapped me on my back, and I said, "Damn, where do I sign?" You don't get that kind of candor in the corporate media that I was used to. So your point is well taken, my friend. Your point is well taken. My point to you was, I'm hoping if he does get elected, let's bring it on.
Yeah, I want Trump to win purely because
the revolution.
There's a slight anarchist spark in me, and I want to see how chaotic it gets if Trump becomes president.
It's going to be chaotic.
Like chaosity and anarchy is like such a good mix. Such a good mix. Yes.
It's a good mix, he said. That's very honest with you, but it is. Maybe I share that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Let's see how bad it can get before it gets better.
And anarchy is an option, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Clinton's gonna make it worse. It's gonna get bad either way. We might as well see how far it gets.
It could actually end up being worse.
Yeah.
Clinton should be able to continue perpetuate the lies, the patronization of African Americans and stuff that her husband had, and all Democrats before her.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, I grew up as a black Republican because my daddy, who was a lawyer, and granddad, who was a Republican and a minister in the AME church, I asked them in my teenage, junior high school years, when all my friends were Democrats, and we were becoming a little more politically aware, coming into high school and college, why are we Republicans? And the answer was because it was the party of Lincoln, and that party was freed the slaves and emancipated people.
And I never thought that at 19 we would be have libertarian conservative leanings. We were always very liberal, so now we've become quite centrist in a way, more libertarian, but we have very liberal.
That's probably a better
ideas.
word for it, because it's the pendulum always swings,
so
doesn't
you need to always go to the center.
But my comment about you, my observation is, you don't strike me as liars and disingenuous young men. You seem very honest and candid, and you seem to be able to express.
I'm actually terrible at lying. Like, I have this weird thing. Most people are good liars and stuff, but I can't lie. People just don't know when I'm telling the truth.
Yeah,
that's even worse, because they're like, I'm being honest. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, I believe you. You seem to be very honest, and you're not dummies. You're intellectually astute. So what's the purpose in lying if you've got something to share?
You don't need to lie to be right. If you are right, you can just show the other person with words, and if they don't accept that, that's on them. But
and right is it's an evasive thing, so we don't know what the truth is. It's subjective, but the intellectual pursuit of what is truthful is a rationale, isn't it? Based on information and documentation of the information, which is the ethics of a journalist, right? A good journalist will give you enough information to arrive at the truth from analyzing your presentation, right? Lawyers do the same thing. Why do I get acquitted? Because you gave the correct information to convince the jury that I am not guilty, man. And then after I leave the courtroom, I give you a big sack of money and say, "Good job, buddy. Now let's go back to our criminal activity."
As long as it's legal criminal activity.
Not necessarily legal, as long as I'm acquitted and I'm able to go free and continue the way I got a sharp lawyer right here.
On the other hand, the justice system in the U.S. is not perfect, but the way I see it, it's the best they've got, and they're a long way from improving.
It's the best they've got, meaning the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty sad statement. It's not the best there is, it's the best they've got. And what they've got is a criminal justice system that has become so corrupt that it is systematized and systematically designed to oppress African Americans and people of color, as we see the increasing. America, for a democratic country, is the largest country. It holds more political prisoners or prisoners general than any other comparable country.
I'm surprised Guantanamo is still open.
Guantanamo is still open, but they're privatized. It's the new Jim Crow. I recommend that book to you, which is tells the story of how we talked in terms of the military-industrial complex, but now we have the the law enforcement industrial complex in the United States, which people are profiting from having privatized law enforcement institutions, prisons and jails, and it behooves them to arrest more of the oppressed people,
Like
and
a
they
good
get
book
paid.
I read was by John Grisham, I think that's how you pronounce it, The Street Lawyer. That was a really interesting one. It showed how like people who can't afford lawyers have such issues with them in the justice system.
Yeah.
And the state says they'll provide an attorney, I can't pronounce
Attorney?
that. Attorney, yes. But even then, it doesn't always work out. So it shows how people who can't afford things don't get it.
Right.
You need to be
You're
able to have
losers.
money
You're
to win
losers.
in the
Yeah, and the
justice.
system works against you and keeps you suppressed for their own profiteering. Actually, that's what happens. So when 18 to 35-year-old average African American male, the risk of him being incarcerated is so high now in most urban situations. That's a statistical fact. And what happens when you're arrested? You're free labor, because the Constitution prohibits slavery, with the exception, if you look at the law, if you're incarcerated in prison, then you can be treated as a slave and
Even
work
that
for
I
nothing.
disagree
For
with,
nothing.
yeah. Even that I disagree with. I think people, prisoners,
It's a
should
little
just,
bit dubious, isn't
yeah.
it?
I mean, you should just, for me, you should just, if you get a life imprisonment, stay in life imprisonment. I disagree with the death
Get some
penalty
bread and
anyway.
water and sit your ass down, right?
yeah.
But don't make me make license plates
Get
for you.
bored to death, but we won't force you to.
But don't make me make car parts for General Motors for free and profit, the government profits.
Exactly. Because what they're doing is taking advantage of someone who did something wrong. That doesn't make what you're doing right.
That makes it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So final comments, sir. Tell me.
I would say both conservative and liberal sides have some points to them, and there needs to be, you need to strike a balance between the two. And right now the pendulum has gone too far towards liberals, and it's gotten too far with, honestly, political correctness has really gone too far. And most people think it just means you have to be nice, but the problem is no one has to be nice. It's nice to be nice, but you don't have to. People can be dicks if they choose. They have that right.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And yours, sir.
Mine is again on this whole social justice culture in America. You really need to stop doing it. As someone in Dubai, I love it when I see videos of feminists and social justice activists bring these up. I love seeing it. It's so funny to see the arguments to make. Feminism is a very controversial topic. I agree with the definition. There are some things that it has right, but it's mixed into social justice. Its modern version has been so corrupted that you get your stuff together. Being offended, the more offended you are, the angrier you get, doesn't make you any more righteous.
Okay. Let me take it there. 2 points then, and we're going to close. Feminism and
modern feminism.
Modern
First
feminism.
and second ways were fine, but this current...
Okay, so what's in the news today on the beaches of the French
burkini.
Riviera, the burkini?
Yeah, the burkini
Tell the
bag.
people what it is, but be balanced in the explanation. As someone with an Islamic background and a
From
mom
what
who I
I've
just met, and I jokingly asked her, "Where's your veil?"
And she's liberal, so she doesn't wear it.
Okay.
But see, on one hand, France
Should
and
those
France-
ladies be made to disrobe themselves on the beaches of Nice and Monaco
No,
in southern France?
obviously not. That's against their rights. But the thing is,
But you saw the video of them having to take off their
yeah.
clothes, perpetrated by the officers of the law.
Yeah.
It's an issue of the law, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. As a
And
lawyer,
my take on it is that it's not right. There is a counter argument for them, although it's not one that I agree with, and that France is a secular country, and I've heard of limitations not just on Islam but also on Christianity and other religions. For example, there's a limit on the size of the crosses you can wear as a Christian in public. So France in general is secular. However, I feel it's cracking down too hard on Islam.
it's an interesting point of view that I don't think has manifested itself in the current coverage of that side of the issue, the secular nature of France. Even though America says separation of church and state, it's far from secular, isn't it?
There's still
In God we trust,
and one nation under God.
one nation under God.
The thing is, with France, I understand that, like you said, it's a secular state, but the burkini is, they have the right to wear it, obviously, and there's something wrong with the law. On the one hand, I'll give both sides. There have been a lot of terrorist attacks in France, so I can see why they have this special case against Muslims and Islam in general. And it's also a secular state. On the other hand, it is against the human rights for you to force them to stroke. So I would just try to change what's wrong with this. It doesn't always work, but I still believe it's the best way to fix this issue of it with the burkini.
Right.
Of course, they have the right to protest against the police as well, but the police are only doing their job. On the other hand, if it's against their conscience, they should not enforce it.
The point I made about being hit over the head at the lunch counter in the 60s in southern states who had Jim Crow laws, and the enforcer of those laws should have taken account of himself.
So what France did, in my opinion, is wrong, but I can see why they did it. There is some reason why they did it, but...
Okay, and then the other point here, and you both can give me a synopsis of this. As two young brothers from Islamic, mainly Iranian roots and Emirati background, do Iranian lives matter?
I am a fan of all lives matter. I understand there's a clash between America and Iran at the moment that's being solved, but all lives matter. Black lives matter, white lives matter.
Don't say that as though that's a mitigating threat. The question is, do Iranian lives matter? Because I'm an American, you're going to placate it by saying, I don't give a damn what America's position with Iranians are.
I would go farther and bring out the nihilism. No lives matter. Nothing matters.
This is good. This is good. What do you have to say about that?
A similar opinion in that, we're both for all lives matter, but that means Iranian lives matter too, of course.
Okay, I pronounced it Iranian, you say Iranian.
Well, it's the difference because
the American thing, like Iran, Iraq.
We say Iran because that's how you say it.
Iran,
Iraq, for example. It's not Iraq. If you want to say it properly, it's Iraq. But that's
Iraq.
It's in Arabic.
It's in Arabic.
As a broadcast journalist, we were told Iranian. Because the Associated Press puts out a pronouncer for all broadcasts. That's what I'm telling you about the sourcing of news. News people on TV don't know jack, man. They read the wire report, they rewrite it, and they process it into a news presentation. The moment after they give it to you, it's lost on them. The real journalists are not the ones you see on TV. Those are guys that are getting shot in Iraq and Iran. And traveling with ISIS and finding out what the real story is, but their stories often don't get out because it's too truthful and it doesn't play well for the American empire or the Russian hegemony in terms of Syria.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Well, guys, thank you very much. I enjoyed this exchange. I appreciate it. You never know what you're gonna find on the road here. Here we are I was going to say Dubai again. I feel like I'm in Dubai with these young brothers. But there you have it, interesting interview. I'm going to publish this in 2 or 3 segments, I think, because it's too long. I'll do episode 1, 2, and 3, perhaps about 6, 7 minutes each. And thank you very much for your contribution. And that's going to do it for this edition of Japan Journal. I'm your host, Mal Adams, on the Internet's #1 English language weekly online cybercast from Japan, Japan Journal. Coming to you live right here in Phuket Island in Thailand. See ya. Wouldn't really want to be ya unless you were right up in here with us, man, enjoying paradise on a rainy Monday night. I'm out.